Welcome to the DAT Extra Podcast. This is Melissa Hart with Dairy Agenda Today. You can listen to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on our Dairy Agenda Today YouTube channel or right here on Dairy Agenda Today. We are featuring a youth edition of the podcast, a conversation with Caroline Egolf of Turtletown, USA. Let's listen to Caroline explain exactly where Turtletown is. Here's our visit with Caroline Egolf. Caroline Egolf of Turtletown, USA. Tell us, what's Turtletown, USA?
Yeah, so I live in Churubusco, Indiana, which is just a little bit north of Fort Wayne, and we are known for racing turtles. And basically, everyone kind of during the month of July is on the hunt to find a turtle that's going to win the turtle races. And you all kind of start on a little ping pong table, and then they release the turtles from the middle. And the first person from the outside wins Turtle Days, which is a little festival we have.
I thought you were lying the first time you told me that. I think your dad was standing there too. And just the more you talked about it, the more I'm like, these guys this is a total lie. This is like snipe hunting or cow tipping. There's no way this is a whole festival around turtle racing. But yes, there is a festival. In fact, I've gotten caught. I think one time we got caught on the way home from the Indiana Holstein show. We went through Churubusco on our way home, and we got caught in the parade. So anyway, so yeah, you're from northern Indiana. Tell us about your background, Caroline, because some people will know you from the shows and have seen you work on different strings, but maybe people don't know your background. So tell us what you're doing now and how you got into this part of the world.
Okay, so I'll kind of start from the beginning of how I got into the dairy industry a little bit. So my family's always milked cows, and I'm the fifth generation on our farm who's milking cows now. My dad started out milking cows in a small tie-stall barn near Fort Wayne. We were milking in a tie-stall barn, and then we had 4 stanchions in the back, and we were milking about 120 that way. So it took quite a while to get done milking. Usually like 5 hours start to finish was chores. So the best way to get to spend time with my dad was to just go out in the barn. So naturally, I ended up in the barn quite a bit when I was younger, whether it be dipping paper towels or just riding my bike up and down the aisles. And then I kind of started my 4-H career shortly after, and I actually started showing livestock. So I showed sheep and pigs growing up. And then 4-H kind of took me more into the dairy industry. I started showing dairy when I was 12, and that's just a little bit later than a lot of my peers when they started showing. And my first show heifer's name was Lonnie, and it wasn't like I was super passionate about dairy at the time. It was just, we had heifers at home, and my cousins were showing dairy, so I was like, okay, I'll give this dairy thing a try. And then that year at the county fair, an older girl, her name is Cassie, had asked me if I wanted to go to an open show with her, and that was actually the Elkhart County Open Show that happens right after our county fair. So we loaded up the trailer from the county fair and ended up going to that open show. And then after that, we went to, I'd say, roughly 15 more open shows in the past 2 years after that. And back then I didn't really know much about it at all. I'd say neither of us did. We took a day at the farm, we came out and grabbed about 10 heifers and, basically tried to teach ourselves how to even clip. We didn't really know what we were doing, but it was more we were just having fun, and we were meeting people in Indiana and Ohio and all these other shows that we were going around to. So I have a lot of respect for Cassie. She's definitely the reason that I got into it in the first place, or even showing cattle at all. Yeah, we were just 2 girls. Cassie she would just drive the trailer. Wait. Cassie Gebert.
Oh, okay. Because I don't think you said her name at the beginning, and there's a lot of people that are going to know exactly who that is. So I want to make sure we give her due.
So yeah, we ended up going to a lot of shows together, and Cassie would drive, and I'd just show up, and we'd meet up at each other's houses to practice clipping and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, we just really got into this whole dairy thing. And she was in it before me, as she invited me to the first couple shows. But yeah, I just really liked it. And then I think my dad realized I was kind of serious about the show cow thing. And he got me my first heifer. Well, we bred her at the farm, and she was a Geordie December calf, and her name was Ezra. So that was the first registered heifer I had ever shown. Before that, I just showed grades at the county fair. And my dad brought this up at the dinner table the other day. I was so invested on doing good with Ezra that I used to bring a speaker into the middle of the yard, and I had a playlist that would go for 2 hours, and I would walk her in circles in the front yard for 2 hours until I thought it was perfect. And if it wasn't perfect, we would keep going. It didn't matter if it went past 2 hours. I mean, when people talk about a dead broke heifer, Ezra was by far the brokest heifer I had ever seen. Yeah, she went through a lot. So she's still at the farm today. My dad doesn't have it in him to get rid of her. She's dry, and she's an old girl now, but she's going to just live out her life as a pasture ornament now. But at that time in my life, dairy wasn't really on my mind as much. I was really into sports. In middle school, I ran cross country, did track, basketball. I was a cheerleader in the fall, which is kind of when show season is. I had tore my ACL during a basketball game, and I realized that when I was recovering, I probably wasn't going to be able to show at spring show that year. And that's when I kind of made the decision to devote all my free time to dairy, because I never wanted to miss a show again, and it kind of sucked. And right around that time, I had got a call from one of my dad's best friends, and he's like a second dad to me, Kim Cummings. And he was at a show with Nathan and Jenny Thomas, and he called my dad and said that his feet hurt really bad, and he knew that I had been showing with Cassie, and he wanted to know if I wanted to come help Nathan and Jenny at a show. And I had no idea who Nathan and Jenny was, but I was all about it. So I packed a little suitcase and went to the show with them. And I remember when I first showed up, the only instructions pretty much I was given was, whatever Renee does, just do that. and Renee, that would pretty much...
Renee who?
Renee Pure. Yeah, that was great advice, because that's pretty much, the best way to learn, I would say. So I quickly realized that these people are really good at this, and I wanted to become very good at this, and this is something I really enjoy doing. So Nathan and Jenny, from there on out, pretty much became like a second family to me. I mean, we went all over showing. They took me to tons and tons of shows with them. I can't thank them enough. Renee pretty much became like a second mom to me. We were always by the string together, and I really grew up with Renee, and I'm very thankful for that. I could go on and on about all the things that the Thomas family has done for me, but I really learned a lot about life with them, and, about who I am as a person, and about great cows and in the show ring and how to take care of them at the show. Speaking of that, I was doing some paperwork for Purdue last week, and I had to turn in my high school transcript, and I saw at the bottom I'd missed 167 days of high school, and there's only 180 in an official school year, so just about a whole year of high school, going around the country to all these different shows with them, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, honestly. And I'm not trying to make my parents sound bad for letting me skip so much,
but that points to exactly, you graduated, you were, I don't know where you were in your class, but I'm assuming you graduated in pretty good standing. You got into Purdue. That points to there are a lot of things that you can learn outside of the classroom. It doesn't have to all be sitting at a desk, and being lenient on these kids who are going to these stock shows is not a bad thing. So, you're a great example of that. So go ahead.
Yeah, but kind of back to what I was saying, I'm super glad that they let me go, because I got to travel the country, and I got a way more unique, I would say, high school experience than a lot of others who were in my graduating class. I did graduate with honors after my senior year, so I didn't completely, mess up, just missed a couple days there. And then that kind of flashes forward junior year, summer of 2023, I did an internship, Ackley Registered Holsteins, Jay and Christy Ackley. Going into that internship, I kind of wanted to learn how they ran their farm a little bit. I thought it was unique how they were milking production cows and pursuing grade farming while also being successful in the show ring. And I thought, that's definitely unique compared to some of these farms who are milking 20 cows and that's what's on their plate and their main priority. But when it comes to my home farm, we have a lot more going on than just the show cows. So I learned a lot from them and a lot of different practices that they did, and I'm super grateful to have that internship. One thing that I got out of that was a good place to learn is where there are more cows. When you're only working with, let's say, 10 or 15 or 20, you're only going to see so much when you're only working with such few cows. And when you have a greater number of cows, you can really learn more, like treatments, breeding. I mean, every cow is so different. And when you don't just have that 20 perfect cows, I mean, you're going to see some difference between them. And then my senior year of high school, I was still helping Nathan and Jenny. But this was definitely the coolest year in the show ring for me. I got into Purdue that year. I was kind of stuck between going to Purdue or going to OSU. But Purdue offered me a lot of scholarships because of my extracurricular activities in high school and some different academic achievements I achieved. So I got my first 2 years for free at Purdue, so it wasn't really a hard decision after I had found that out. Mm-hmm. That summer, before I went to college, was really special. I reached a lot of goals that I didn't think were attainable, and I reached them for myself at a young age. That was the year that I won Showman to Showman at the Indiana State Fair, which I grew up watching kids win that, and I just thought it was so cool to be able to do that.
That's a huge accomplishment at the Indiana State Fair, because that's a pretty, well, any of these state fairs, honestly, that's the competition. Mm-hmm. That's like the cream of the crop competition. Showman
to Showman for dairy is every breed comes together, and every judge that judged every breed then judges whoever won Showman to Showman for the breed. So I was the Holstein representative. Okay. So you all go in there, and they announce it at the Parade of Champions, which is really special to be in at the Indiana State Fair. It's a big deal for the livestock kids to get to be on the dirt. So, but we show in the dirt ring, but for them, they show in different rings. So getting on the dirt means that they're in the grade drive. So all the showmen come out that are in contention for Showman to Showman, and then they receive a trophy after that. Whoever won, they announce it on the dirt there on a live stream. So that was really cool. And then kind of fast forward to now, I moved into Purdue. I'm studying animal science there right now. And then about a week in, I was like, yeah, I'm pretty homesick here. And I was stuck in my dorm, and I was contemplating my decision on going to Purdue a little bit, but then I was going through, they sent out an animal science newsletter, and it has job postings, internship opportunities, things like that. And I saw a posting about an assistant herdsman position, and it was about 30 minutes from campus. So I called the guy on the flyer. His name is Mike Poland, and I just said, hey, I'm from a dairy farm, and I'm here at Purdue, and I'm kind of looking to learn some new things. I kind of told him what I knew, what I could do, my skills, the equipment I knew how to run, so on and so forth. And he was like, all right, come out on Monday. You're hired. So obviously, this is the first time in my life where I really didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know these people. They have a 300-cow robot farm, not familiar with robots at all, kind of from the show world. So this is definitely a big turn for me, but that's kind of what I'm doing currently, and it is definitely one of the best decisions I ever made. I've learned a lot. My first week there, Central Star came out and taught me how to breed, so I've been breeding there. I give vaccinations. Lots of fun. And I don't know. It's a different world. I wanted to learn more about treating milk cows, because I feel like the people I look up to the most in the dairy industry aren't necessarily like the ones coming out with the banner, but the truly good cow people. Uh-huh. Yeah, so I started working for Mike at this 300-cow robot dairy, and I really wanted to learn more about treating milk cows, and I could tell within my first week there that he cares about every single individual cow, which is sometimes hard to do when you're milking that many, but I kind of knew it was the place to be. I've learned so much from Mike. I put my first IV in a cow at Mike's farm. I mean, oh, wow. He's a great teacher, and I'd really recommend anyone who wants to learn more about milk cows. And I wanted to learn more about cell counts and protein and things like that. And I've learned so much with that many cows about, you know, which ones do we maybe need to get rid of in the herd and which ones should stay, daily rumination, things like that. Mike has been very helpful in teaching me how to use all that. And even some of the stuff I've learned at the farm, I'm like, oh, this would be really good back at the home farm. So I definitely think that it's been a great experience for me, but that's kind of what I'm up to now.
So what are some of the things that you get to do there? You get to do breeding, and what else do you do there?
I do breeding. I tag all the new calves and put them into the system there. I give pretty much all the vaccinations. The cows that are on program shots and the Cedar Stink program, so I do a lot of that. Like I said before, some breeding. Talk to Mike about breeding decisions. They rotate between 10 sires every couple months, so I sit down with Mike and pick out the next 10. Mm-hmm. I was never really familiar with that before I started working there.
You're making breeding decisions. That's definitely a huge plus, because I would assume the breeding decisions at Nathan Thomas's are a little different than the breeding decisions where you're at. What are some of the things that you guys are considering when you're selecting the bulls?
Well, personally, I look at the cows a lot and what they need, what components they might need. But the big thing now that they have on Select is robot readiness. And that plays a huge factor. I mean, the robots can't pick up on every cow, like if their teeth are crossed in the back. There's just a lot of different things, but robot readiness that they have now really helps out on that.
Do they use all robot-ready bulls?
Not all of them necessarily. It's so different than it would be in the show world. Like, it's not they're shorter. It's just everything is a little bit different. But, like, sometimes, we go through a streak where we're like, oh, these girls, like, not the best feet and legs on them, so we're going to look at that in the next bull that we're picking out. We're going to breed these girls to that. And then sometimes we figure out, oh, that didn't really work so well, so we're going to look for something else. But, yeah, it just depends.
What's the biggest change when you're walking into a robot herd? What is the biggest change for you that you had to get used to? For people that have milked cows morning and night forever, to switch to robots where you're not regimented with that morning and night thing, right? So what was that like?
Yeah, it's still an all-day task when it comes down to it. The robots, they can only do so much. You're still going to get that call at 2 a.m. that you got robot down. But I would say the biggest change for me is just not being one-on-one with the girls. It was a lot harder for me to get to know the herd. Obviously there's a lot more that I'm used to at home, but just to getting to know each cow is a lot different. When you see them come through the parlor every day, you really know, like, oh, she looks a little off today. It's hard walking through the barns and knowing if one's off, but other than that, I think the robots are great, honestly.
Yeah, it's a great atmosphere, isn't it? It seems every robot barn you walk into, it's very relaxed, and the cows are just very calm, and it just seems real, for lack of a better word, it seems very chill.
Yeah, it definitely is chill. And happy cows you don't bother them a lot. And cows that produce the most milk, you're not bothering them a lot. And I think that's why the robots are so successful now, because they're kind of on their own schedule. They can, instead of standing in a holding pen all day, they just get behind a robot and walk all in,
So back home, are you helping making some of those breeding decisions with your dad? Or?
I kind of let Dad take care of that most of the time. And now that I'm in college, I really don't get to be back at the home farm as much. Like, I'm on winter break now, and I'm like, oh, what's this calf? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's there right now. So, yeah, I haven't got to be around as much as I used to.
I bet that was a big change going to college.
Yeah, it definitely, like I said, that was kind of my leading reason finding a job so fast. I got really homesick. You're cooped up in a dorm, going to class, and I was just like, oh, I need to be around some cows soon.
What do you want to do when you get out of college? Right now, what is it? What's the plan? It probably will change, but you never know.
Yeah, it might change. I'm thinking nutrition, probably.
So you've gone to Ackley's, you've done your internships there, you've done your internship at Nathan and Jenny, spent a lot of time with them, learning all of that on the show side of things. Who was one of your mentors?
Yeah, I would say one of my biggest mentors is definitely my dad and my grandpa. That's where I really started out. I wouldn't have done any of that if it wasn't for them. But besides that, I would definitely say Nathan and Jenny played a huge role in my show career, and Renee, taking nothing away from Renee. any advice I needed, whether it was cow or personal life, they've always been there for me. Yeah, definitely someone I consider a role model. It's hard to find someone, I feel like, especially in the dairy industry, that's willing to teach you, all their tips and tricks on how to get one ready. And I feel like they've really helped me with that.
Oh, yeah. I bet that was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot of things you took back home and said, okay, Dad, we need to change this. We need to do that.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So do you have any cattle at home that you're breeding for the show ring?
Yes, we do. Yeah. So for next year, we've got Solomon 4-year-old hoping to take out again next year. She's never been ready at the right time, but I think next year is going to be her year. Mm-hmm. She just calved in. She had a little chief calf. It is a heifer. So I'm very excited about that. So hopefully that December calf will make a ring appearance as well. Call Me, we showed this year. She was a crushable junior yearling. She's at Nathan and Jenny's. They bought half of her now. I'm excited to see how she calves in the coming years. I might not be in the ring with her, but it was certainly an honor to have her at the farm for last summer and then see her go on to do well at the Royal. We have a lot of good 2-year-olds for next year. We probably have 3 right now in the pack pen that are probably some of the best ones that we've had in a long time that me and my dad are pretty excited about. But other than that, we'll just see how things turn out.
So are you going to do any spring shows, or are you going to mostly focus on the fall shows?
Yeah, probably just summer and fall for next year, just because school right now, it's been getting hard for me to miss as much as it was in high school.
Yeah. So you've been to a lot of major shows. Now, what's your favorite show to go to?
I have 2 that are probably tied. Yeah, they're definitely tied, but the Indiana State Show and World Dairy Expo are my 2 favorite shows out of the year. Indiana State Show is just kind of different than any other show for me. It's more of like a family environment. You're around these people that you've been showing with your whole life. And Expo, of course, is one of my favorites. I remember my first year I went with Nathan and Jenny, and I was like, holy crap, there are so many good cows here. Like, it was just so eye-opening. A lot of good farms, a lot of good people, a lot of good cattle, all in one place. It's pretty incredible that we have something like that.
What's one of your favorite show ring memories?
I don't know. There's a lot. I'm trying to pick the top one. We had a Dorman milking yearling at Expo, and she was bred by Sam McWilliams, and we bought her as a bird heifer at Nathan's sale. And we calved her in at the farm, and she turned out to be pretty good. So we brought her to World Dairy Expo, and she turned out to be second in her class. And I remember we were going in for intermediate, standing outside the ring, and like my dad almost had tears in his eyes because it was so unreal. Like, holy crap, we were standing in here about to go in here for intermediate at World Dairy Expo. I don't know. I just felt like that was a really cool bonding moment between the 2 of us. Like, we worked hard on this cow, and she stayed at our house, and we calved her in, and she turned out this cool. And she was on one of the last pages of Nathan and Jenny's sale order, so that was kind of cool too. You
and your dad seem to have quite a bond.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
What does it mean to be doing this stuff with him?
Yeah, I think it's super awesome that me and my dad kind of have the same passion for the cows. I mean, I'm definitely very fortunate to have a dad that supports me in this, because it takes not only a lot of time, but showing cows is pretty expensive. I mean, going to the shows, tying in with somebody at the show, and even purchasing the cow alone, thousands of dollars in this project, and you never know if it's ever going to turn out. So I'm pretty lucky to have someone like that in my corner.
Yeah, I would say you are. That's not everybody is lucky enough to have something like that. But yeah, you and your dad are pretty special people. So all of a sudden we're seeing on Instagram all this beautiful jewelry, and you're behind it. So tell us, what is this whole jewelry adventure that you're on?
Yeah, so pretty much back to being kind of bored in college. I went to NAIL a year ago, and I went to the trade show and was kind of looking at jewelry, and I was like, oh, these Navajo pearls are so cute, and girls wear them in the barn, and But then I realized, okay, well, all of these are like $300. Like, that's a lot for a necklace. So I was like, you know what? I could probably make this myself and make it cheaper. Mm-hmm. So I started on my adventure of making Navajo pearl necklaces and kind of made them for myself, made them for some friends. And then all of a sudden, I was making way too many for just my friends. And I was like, you know what? I could probably start a business out of this. So I started up an Instagram page and kind of did like my first initial drop, I guess you could say. And I posted a couple necklaces on there, and they all sold really quick. And that was right before the World Dairy Expo that year. So I posted on my Instagram. I was like, hey guys, I created this show box, which is just a jewelry box filled with necklaces. And I was like, I'm going to bring the show box to the World Dairy Expo. Come see me if you want to look at any necklaces. And I posted that on my Instagram and went to World Dairy Expo, and the whole box had sold out. And I was like, oh, so I need to make this a little bit bigger. So I started a website for it where people could order Navajo pearls. And now this consumes my day pretty much. I mean, I'm sitting at my bead table right now. I just got done packaging some orders. But yeah, that's how I kind of started my necklace business.
So describe what a Navajo pearl is for those people who may not know what that is.
Yeah, so Navajo pearl is a sterling silver oxidized bead, and that's why you might be seeing a little bit bigger of a price tag on these beads. They go back to the Navajo Indians. Those were the original artists who created them, but now Navajo pearls are mainly machine-made instead of handmade. And they're strung on to a sterling silver wire, and that's what makes a necklace. So the pearl isn't actually like a white pearl that you would think about. It's a sterling silver bead. And what's so cool about them is that they don't tarnish. It's pretty hard to ruin one. I've had the same one that I wore every day for the past 4 years, and it still looks like I just bought it. So they don't really ever lose value, I guess you could say.
Okay, so you started making these, and you make all different kinds and sizes?
Yeah, so the beads come in a millimeter size. So my necklaces start out at 4 millimeter, and you can order custom up to 15 millimeter, which would be a very big bead. And so I make all different lengths, all different bead sizes. Yeah. There's a lot of variation.
And a lot of these are original designs, right? I mean, like the way you're beading, the way you're stringing them on to make a necklace, it's your design, right?
Yes. So a lot of them are original designs. There's only so much originality to it, though, I will say. Like a plain strand, everyone's going to have that. But I do like to do a lot of creative designs with some different beads. I've incorporated some turquoise beads, some black onyx beads, some green turquoise, spiny oyster beads. I mean, possibilities are kind of endless for the different beads that you could put on them, and I think that makes them unique as well.
Okay. You sold out of all of those. So you started just making the necklaces and selling what you had, but now you've decided you're going to start making custom necklaces?
Yeah, so I can do customs too. On the website, there's a tab that you can do a custom on, and you just click on there and tell me exactly what you want, or people DM me on Instagram. I just got done doing a set for someone's engagement pictures that they wanted. So they wanted like 5 different necklaces, and she kind of had an idea of what she wanted, and I kind of just take it from there and make what I think would look nice.
What's the website address?
Okay, it is cowgirl-charms.com.
Cowgirl-charms.com. And then your Instagram handle is Cowgirl Charms?
Yep, that's my Instagram.
Okay. And you've had a lot of traffic there?
Instagram it might actually be tied between my Instagram and my website where I make the most sales, but the website is just a lot more convenient for people. You don't always want to DM somebody and ask for something. Mm-hmm. But I have drops on my Instagram. Usually I have a drop about once a month, and a drop is a unique design that isn't on my website yet. Something totally new that I come up with that month that I thought would be cute. And then people can just comment and say they want it, and then I ship it right to them.
Wow, so you're the total package.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Wow, and you enjoy it, must be. It seems like stringing beads might get tedious.
Yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. Just because it's kind of a creative outlet for me. Mm-hmm. It's something I can do inside when I'm not at the farm to kind of keep my mind busy. I like to be a busy person, so this has definitely done that for me.
And you've been to a couple of different stock shows recently. Where have you been?
Yeah, so I've been to a couple different livestock shows in Indiana, and then I went to one in Michigan. So I just come and set up a booth of all the necklaces, and then because they're very popular with the livestock girls now, and you get to meet everybody at the show and get to talk to all the girls and help them find a necklace that they like.
And how did that go? Did you sell out? Did you sell most of them?
Yeah, Michigan, we sold quite a few, and then the Santa Swine Showdown, the booth sold out at.
Wow. Did you expect that?
No, and I wish I would have made a couple more necklaces for that, because I had a couple friends who came up looking for them. I'm like, sorry, they're all gone. But I'm super, super thankful, yes.
Well, there can't be that many places that sell out. I mean, that's crazy.
I know. There was a couple boutiques beside me. I was like, I don't know if I should just pack up and go home or stay for the rest of the show.
Yeah. So right now it's just necklaces?
Yes, right now it's just necklaces, and I did just get in some custom hats. So the hats will be on the website soon, and they have my logo on them. So those will be up soon.
Did you create this website yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you can add products as you decide to put them online.
Yep, I can add whatever anytime.
Okay, wow. And was that hard to do?
Creating the website was definitely time consuming. Just kind of figuring out like the color scheme that I wanted, and I knew I wanted it to be girly and attract the right audience, so I went with pink. I had some student that goes with me at Purdue took the pictures that you see on the website for the cover photos. She did those, and she did an awesome job with that. Mm-hmm. And then kind of just picturing all the necklaces and getting up their bios.
So is that your goal, to start like filling every single weekend with necklace selling?
I'm hoping to have most of it online, just because when I'm home, I kind of want to go back to the farm. But there's going to be some more pig shows going on, so I'll probably go to some of those. I think I might go to one more beef show, and then summer shows will hit, and I'll be too busy with dairy to keep going to a bunch of them, but maybe hit a couple in the summer.
Well, you're going to have to take some of that stuff with you. I mean, because everybody in the dairy show is going to know. They're going to be like, oh, Caroline, where are your necklaces? Because, I'm sure they...
At Louisville, I had a couple of people come up and ask. They were like, oh, do you have the box with you? Yeah, here you go.
So is your booth a big booth, or is it something that's pretty compact?
No, I kind of try to keep it pretty small. I want it to look full, so I kind of keep it smaller, because necklaces obviously don't take up a lot of room, but usually like 2 8-foot tables, and I have a table out front with the logo on it, and a couple of my favorites on a couple displays, and then a checkout table. So It's pretty easy to set up, and I wanted to be able to make sure I could load it up in my car and take it wherever.
How do people pay?
I take card. I have a card reader, cash, Venmo, whatever.
Okay, that
doesn't really matter.
Yeah, Venmo seems to be a really easy thing for people to do.
On all of my drops that I do on Instagram, usually Venmo is the way that they pay for those.
Wow, that's great. Do you have a lot of repeat customers?
Yeah, usually the ones that have gotten necklaces for me before, especially during the holidays, they've been like, I need to get one for my mom or my aunt or something like that. So, yeah, I do get a lot of the same ones.
So this is going to help you pay for college, right?
Yeah, hopefully a little bit. I'm on a scholarship, so it more so my rent for my apartment. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because you've got a lot of expenses at college, so yeah. So it's nice to have a little bit of an income to gas to go home and gas to get out to work, out to the farm that you're working at, and you got to buy the pearls. So you got to buy, you got to lay out cash in order to be able to bring any back in. So, and I bet that was scary. Was that scary at first?
Yeah, I think my first initial order, it's about $2,000 worth of them, which they come in this little bag. So you're like, is this all I get? And, because they're so small. Yeah. But I was definitely nervous, but I already had a lot of friends who were like, as soon as you drop these, I'm going to buy one. So I kind of knew, the market is there for them. So it wasn't too big of a risk.
Yeah, and there are some that are, like you said, they're very expensive. So growing up on a farm, we all know that it can be hard. There's a lot of work to growing up on a farm, being a farm kid. That means sometimes, opening Christmas presents on Christmas morning doesn't happen in the morning. Sometimes it happens in the afternoon because you got to deal with something in the barn or with the cows or whatever. Do you feel like that you have an advantage as a farm kid in the work world? As you go out and find a career, do you think it was an advantage to grow up as a farm kid?
Yeah, I definitely do. Growing up in the dairy definitely taught me a lot. It kind of comes down to how close my family is because of what we do for a living. And I think it's really special to have someone that you could call at any time. I mean, any members of my family that work on the farm, anytime if I ever needed anything, I know that they're going to be there. Mm-hmm. And not everybody has that. And like I said before, when I was applying for that job at the dairy, I mean, as soon as I said I've worked on a farm my whole life, he was like, all right, come out on Monday. And I think what's special about that is work ethic, time management are huge when you're working at a farm, and I feel like that's something that really comes out of that.
Yeah, and determination, tenacity, you can't give up. Mm-hmm. You can't give up when you're on a farm. I mean, that's just not even an option.
Yep, no days off.
yeah, there are no days off, and you just got to keep going. Yeah. I'm going to give you some random questions.
Yep.
Do you have a hidden talent?
No, none.
You probably do, you just don't know it. Okay, what emoji do you use the most?
Laughing face.
What's your biggest fear?
Probably snakes.
Oh, I'm right there with you. I get that. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite song right now?
Oh, gosh. 28 by Zach Bryan.
Okay. What's the last book you read?
My chemistry textbook.
That's no fun.
I don't have a lot of time to free read anymore.
I'm sure you don't. Coffee or Coke?
Coffee. I drink one every day.
Queso or salsa?
Salsa.
Oh, a salsa girl. I like that. That's good. If you could have free food for a lifetime from a fast food restaurant, what restaurant would you pick?
Only fast food, right?
Yep, only fast food.
Honestly, this is going to be controversial, but probably McDonald's. Because they have everything, and you can change it up. It's right by the farm. It's convenient. I love McDonald's.
I love their coffee. Their coffee's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Their coffee is good, yeah.
Okay, last question. If you could do anything and know that you were not going to fail, what would you do?
Well, this kind of goes back to cowgirl terms, but I was thinking about starting silversmithing and just been kind of nervous about it so far, so probably that.
Oh, really? That's interesting. Silversmithing. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so that's more like if you see a pendant, a ring, something like a cuff, any of that jewelry, someone silversmith that. So just setting stones. So it'd be like if you had a necklace with turquoise on it and the stone was in a bezel and it was surrounded by silver, someone probably silversmith that. But it takes a lot more time and a lot more money to start it.
Right, and don't you have to learn how to do that?
Yeah, yep.
So who teaches you how to do that? The Indians?
No, there's a lot of YouTube videos on it. So you can learn that way, and I have a friend who knows how to do it, so probably her most of it.
Okay. Okay, it's been great to visit with you. I really appreciate the time that you've taken, and hopefully your story is inspirational to other youth out there who are getting ready to go to college or in college and trying to figure out what they're going to do with their life. And, you know, the little side jobs that you've gotten and that you're doing is inspirational to other people, and you just got to keep going. Thank you to Caroline Egolf for a great conversation with the DAT Extra podcast. This is Melissa Hart with Dairy Agenda Today. You can listen to this on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on our Dairy Agenda Today YouTube channel or right here on Dairy Agenda Today. We broadcast what's on the agenda every single day on Dairy Agenda Today, giving you the news and headlines of the dairy industry. Until next time, have a great day.